Okay, so we're just going to start out by talking about a couple of basic finger picking ideas, and just so you can get a grasp around using each individual finger in the right hand for picking. We're going to have one where we're actually going to be doing some comping. Comping is basically kind of a term used as for hitting multiple strings at the same time while finger picking with your fingers. So you would grab multiple strings and then play them all at the same time. We're going to work on that just so you can get like a basic feel of just where every single kind of finger wants to be, kind of like a home position. And then we're going to have one little phrase where we arpeggiate the notes, which means we're going to separate the notes and play a little picking pattern. So let's get to it. The first thing we want to do, you don't have to have anything in the left hand. Just take your thumb, and you want your picking arm to be coming down at like a 45-degree angle from the edge of the guitar. And you want to keep your wrist straight. And just have it so where your hand is not very high off the fret, off the guitar, but it's not touching at all. Your hand, your palm, or anything should not be touching the guitar. Your hand should be floating over the strings. And you know how far you should float, just like when you just keep your fingers nice and relaxed, like when you're not doing anything, your fingers have this kind of bent motion to them anyway. So what you want to do is kind of have that motion, your fingers doing that, when you come down on the strings. And that'll dictate how high your hand should be off the strings, because if your fingers are way extended, your hand will be way too high off. If your fingers were clenched, your palm will be flat onto the strings. So whatever your fingers naturally, the curvature of your fingers do naturally, when you place them on the strings, you should be able to keep your hand at that level. Now, so what we're going to do first is this is kind of basic home position, especially for classical guitar players. We're going to have our thumb on the 6th string. So place the edge of your thumb right on the 6th string. Then you're going to take your first finger. This first finger, the thumb is going to be notated in the music as P. That's the notation on guitar for your thumb. The index finger is indicated by I, the middle finger is by M, and the A finger is, the ring finger is notated with an A. So we see that below the notes on the fretboard in the sheet music. That tells you which finger is playing that particular string. So we're going to have this open kind of home position shape where you have your first finger on the 3rd string, your middle finger on the 2nd string, and your ring finger on the 1st string. So they're all lined up, and then you have your thumb on the 6th. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take all the strings at the same time and pick them. Now, where do you pick from? You actually pick from the knuckles at the base of your fingers, not the middle of your fingers. If you pick in the middle of your fingers, you'll snap the string. She's in very, there's a couple of guitar techniques that you use that for, but for the most part, if you want a nice finger pick sound, you want to be coming from your fingers that actually go in this direction into your palm. So they go across the strings. They don't get under the strings and dig from underneath. And your thumb works from its back joint too. And when you basically take all these strings in your hand, like we set up before, and you pick them at the same time, you basically you'll be making a fist almost. Not like a literal fist, but you see how my fingers go behind my thumb. You don't want your thumb coming behind your fingers because then they can't pull all the way in. At first, you want to exaggerate and just pull your fingers all the way in, making sure that you're using these back knuckles. And then you can start relaxing that. But you want to just work on this for a second, get a nice even sound with all the strings, and work on that for a couple minutes. Then we're going to take it to this little etude. I just basically have a little melody going up the 3rd string. You can play every single note just with just one finger. We'll use our 2nd finger because it's really easy to arc over those 2 open strings. And we're going to take that same hand position and just move it around. Okay? So it's going to sound like this. Let me do that again. start a little phrase just going up in the scale. An A Lydian is what this is. You pause on that, and then you start that over again. The first thing. And then we're going to end it. Very simple, just one finger just kind of going up in one string in the left hand. We want to keep it simple so you can concentrate on getting a nice sound, hearing all those notes in the left hand ringing. Just keep track of everything's going to stay the same, and the fingers is always on the third, second, and first string with those three fingers, but the thumb does switch over to the fifth string in a couple of sections, and a couple of chords in the E section. The next thing we want to work on is now, let's take that same position. Let's now put our thumb on the fifth string, and then put those three fingers on those top three strings again. And we're going to pick one at a time. We're going to pick the thumb first. I'm just basically holding a C major chord here in the left hand. And then pick the first finger, and then the second, and then the third. And you see, when I'm done, I almost have that whole position, that whole little fist thing. They all kind of just fell into my hand. And then you repeat that. It's very simple. Okay, so we're just practice that a little bit. And then I have a little etude on the chart that uses that pattern. And it's very simple, and it has the same picking pattern. The only thing that's going to change is the thumb on some strings, just like the thing before. And we do have a little bit of movement in the left hand. So I'm going to play through it and then just read the chart and then see. Now this whole chart is available at guitarlessons365.com, so you can follow along with all this little music studies we're doing. All right, let me play through this real quick. Repeat it. All right, so work with those and just see what you can make out of it. Just getting a little bit of basic finger picking control. I'm going to do some more advanced finger picking studies in the future, and this is just something that gets a little bit of some sounds going, and if you can make these sound nice, you're ready to move on. All right, please go to guitarlessons365.com and support the site in any way you can. I appreciate it. Bye-bye.